multiverse. Every existence multiplied by possibility and spread out in infinite measure. Now, there is a malevolent force at work. One driven by a singular goal. The destruction of all there is. There's a wave of antimatter sweeping across this universe, destroying everything in its path. Across space-time, there exist 7 heroes who can and will save the universe. You can't prevent the coming crisis, but if we're lucky, we can survive it.
Hello guys, it's Teenage DC Fan, back in another video, and the first hour of Crisis on Infinite Earths, which aired on the recent episode of Supergirl, was an exciting, emotional, and overstuffed affair that didn't feel like it had enough room to let some moments breathe. Thankfully though, Batwoman's Part 2 of the crossover succeeds where Part 1 stumbled a bit. I mean, I loved the first part, but this was like, even better. And yes, this episode was just as busy and cameo-filled, but it flowed smoothly and all of the important beats landed, so that's a good part. Now, I think the reason Part 2 worked so well is because it was structured around a pretty simple premise, which I'll get into a little later, but let's start off with the beginning of the episode. So everybody is mourning the death of Oliver. Kara is upset because she's like, he sacrificed himself for me. He shouldn't have done that. It was a mistake. But then Sarah's looking on the bright side, like, if he hadn't sacrificed himself, then at least 1 billion people wouldn't have survived from Earth 38. So he laid down his life to save all those lives. And then Batwoman ends up reminding them that, you know, the multiverse is at stake here, and they need to get back to work. So this is when everybody gather, and they go to find the Wave Rider, and they don't want to use the Wave Rider from Earth 1 because apparently the Legends don't like being a part of these crossovers. And that's literally what Sarah said. She said she promised the Legends that they wouldn't have to be a part of another crossover. So, yeah. And so then they go to some other Earth. I don't remember what Earth it is, but it's one of the Earths. And then they find this Wave Rider. And when they first get on the Wave Rider, they hear somebody talking to them. And it's basically this Wave Rider's version of Gideon, except instead of it being Gideon's voice, it's actually Leonard Snart, aka Captain Cold's voice, which I think was an awesome cameo because Captain Cold's my favorite character from the Arrowverse, and it's too bad we couldn't actually have him, like, present and helping fight the battle. But even just hearing his voice and having him as a part of this episode was really awesome. So then we have this version of Mick Rory, and honestly, I'm not sure if this is the Earth one, Mick Rory, or if it's the one from this Earth, because he said that he went to this Wave Rider because it was quiet and it was a nice place where he could write his romance novels in peace. So I don't know, maybe this is the Earth one, Rory, maybe it's not, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So now all of the heroes are gathered on the Wave Rider, or this Wave Rider, And this is when the Monitor tells them the good/bad news. So, the heroes must find the Paragons, who are 7 special people who can save the multiverse. And having that task as the spine that allowed the episode to jump around the multiverse and accomplish its primary goal, which was paying tribute to several different corners of the DC Universe with some delightful cameos without feeling like the episode was all over the place. So, everybody gets set on their missions. And the first one I'd like to talk about, which wasn't actually a mission given by the Monitor, is that Oliver and Mia, Barry and Mia, really are not over Oliver's death, and they want to find a way to bring him back to life. So then they find a way to, they come up with the idea to use a Lazarus pit, but unfortunately, all of the Lazarus pits on Earth 1 had been destroyed. So they go to Constantine for help, and then they're able to locate a Lazarus pit on an alternate planet. So then Sarah teams up with them because she's also very upset after the death of Oliver, and they go to this other planet. And when they get there, they go into this mine, they see the Lazarus pit, but then Jonah Hex shows up, starts fighting them, but then Mia and Sarah easily take him out because, I don't know, and this is before he gets his scar, so Sarah actually ends up giving him his scar, so, yeah. And then Barry, Oliver, I keep saying Oliver, but no, he did. Barry, Constantine, Mia, and Sarah, they all lower Oliver's body down into the Lazarus pit. And they wait a couple minutes and nothing happens. But then all of a sudden, Oliver jumps out of the pit and he's alive again. But then he starts fighting him because he doesn't have his soul. So then, Constantine, the reason they had Constantine go with them is because they wanted him to try and find a way to get Oliver's soul back in his body. And so that's what he tries to do, but unfortunately, it doesn't work, so I don't know how they're going to solve this problem then. But onto another adventure for the story, where Kara and Kate go to Earth, Earth 99, to find the Paragon of Courage, who is supposed to be the Bat of the future. And on that Earth, they meet Kevin Conroy's older version of Bruce Wayne, who apparently has devoted his life to crime and moves with the aid of an exoskeleton. And so Conroy has voiced Batman for the past 27 years and is, in my opinion, the best Batman. And he hasn't even, this is the first time he's ever been Batman or Bruce Wayne in live action, so that, I think that was really cool that he was in this. And he brings a sense of gravitas to every scene he shares with Kate, and conveys the toll crime fighting has taken on him in both his voice, that iconic voice, and also his physical performance. So his acting is the reason the twist that he's a cold-blooded murderer who killed his rogues and Superman lands so well. It's surprising, and yet we're prepared for it because of everything Conroy was throwing at us. Unfortunately, this is the last time we'll see this particular version because Kate accidentally killed him via electrocution when she steps in to defend Kara, because, when Bruce realized that Kara was Supergirl, he got out some kryptonite and started trying to kill her, because he killed Superman, and he killed the Joker, and Riddler, and Mr. Freeze, and all of his villains, so why not kill Supergirl as well? But this trip to Earth 99 has several ramifications for Batwoman and the crossover. First, and more pressingly, their fraught interaction with old Bruce Wayne ends up revealing that Kate is the Paragon of Courage, aka the Bat of the future. Second, the encounter presents Kate with an interesting internal conflict she'll hopefully have to grapple with when Batman returns. Batwoman returns. And she's just glimpsed a potentially dark future for herself. What does this mean for her? How does this affect her approach to superheroism? Furthermore, I love that this episode acknowledges the dark side of the business. At some point, it inevitably leads to the hero snapping and killing everyone because of the darkness. Now, meanwhile, Clark, Lois, and Iris go off looking for the Paragon of Truth, which is some bummed version of Superman. But apparently, Lex Luthor, this is where they find out that Lex Luthor is alive. The Monitor brought him back to life because apparently he has a role to play in this. So the first thing Lex does is he steals the Book of Destiny, and then he goes through the multiverse, killing every Superman from every Earth. So that's not good. So then Lois and Clark, they go to this one Earth, because they're like, alright, we don't know which Superman it is, but it's a Superman, so we have to find this Superman before Lex ends up killing him. So they go to this first one, then they see this news headline, Lex Luthor kills Man of Steel, and disappears into thin air. Now, I can't really tell, but I believe that that's the Superman from the Superboy TV series, so that's cool. But this is probably my favorite part of the episode, because up next they get led to Earth 167, where they encounter Smallville's Clark Kent and Lois Lane, bringing back Tom Welling and Erica Durance is some major fan service in the best way. And it's so pure, and it's not just that. The writers give Welling a great scene with Jon Cryer's Lex Luthor, who's using the Book of Destiny to kill Superman throughout the multiverse. So, like I said, Clark and Lois and Iris are there, but before Lex shows up. So then they warn him, and they're like, Lex Luthor is coming to kill you. And he's like, I didn't know the president was in town. Of course, that's a reference to the ending of Smallville, which I actually haven't finished watching yet, so I haven't seen the end of that, but now I know part of it. But yeah, so then all of a sudden, those three just disappear. And then Jon Cryer's Lex Luthor shows up, and he's like, I'm here to kill all the Supermen. And then he pulls out some kryptonite, throws it at Clark, and then Clark just catches it, looks at it, almost like he's curious, like, ooh, green shiny rock. And it does nothing to him. And then Lex is super surprised because he's like, what? This is kryptonite. How are you not, hurt by this? This is your weakness. And then it's revealed to us that apparently this version of Clark gave up his powers because he ended up having daughters, kids, and he has at least 2 daughters now with Lois, so he gave up his superpowers. So the kryptonite doesn't affect him. So then Lex Luthor basically gets scared and runs away. And I think my favorite part about this was Clark's somewhat bored reaction to this version of Lex Luthor. Like, when Lex Luthor first shows up, he's like, who are you? And then he's like, don't you know who I am, Clark? I'm Lex Luthor. And then Clark just stands there, like, he acts like it doesn't faze him. Now, I'll admit that I initially felt the same way about the future the Arrowverse writers wrote for Smallville's Clark Kent. At first, Clark giving up his powers was a bit of a letdown. However, the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Like, at the end of the day, Smallville was always about Clark Kent, his desire to live a normal life despite his powers, and avoided having him fly and suit up in the cape for as long as possible. So it makes sense that at some point he would give up those abilities to be with Lois and have children, I mean, he did it at the beginning of season 5 to be with Lana Lang, so. Now, not having Tom Welling Clark suit up as Superman then allows the episode to go full Superman when Clark, Lois, and Iris travel to Earth 96 and meet Brandon Routh as the Kingdom Come version of Superman. Now, like Kevin Conroy, Routh carries the weight of everything this Man of Steel has experienced. The Joker murdering everyone he loves at the Daily Planet in his body, and seeing him suit up again really does feel like a homecoming. But it's not all about nostalgia, because Lex Luthor forces Routh's Superman and Hecklin's Superman to fight. So, Superman versus Superman. But thankfully, Lois and Iris knock out Lex and use the Book of Destiny to help Routh's Superman overcome the mind control. Now, this was great, and this is basically the only Paragon that we know of so far, like from the cameo characters. Other than Kingdom Come Superman, the only Paragons we know of right now are Sarah Lance, Supergirl, and Batwoman. So, like I said, Batwoman, she found out that she was a Paragon, like, right at the end. And I don't know who the other Paragons are going to be. I'm pretty sure Black Lightning is one. Maybe Martian Manhunter. Maybe Ryan Choi. I don't know. So, who do you guys think the other Paragons are? Let me know down in the comments below. But then finally, in the final scene of this story, this part of the crossover, we see Harbinger. So throughout the whole episode, like, she's got headaches, she's got voices in her head, she can't think, she can't concentrate. So then she starts walking down this dark path, which is literally just a dark hallway. And this is where Harbinger comes face to face with the Anti-Monitor, who apparently, I guess she's working with now, or maybe she's been working with him the whole time. I don't know, but this is pretty crazy. So that happened. But yeah, that's what happened in Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. So I'm really excited for the third part, which I'm assuming is going to end on a big cliffhanger. So I'm super excited for that. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.